On today's Rebels Edge, coming to you live from San Juan, Puerto Rico at the Uncorrelated Asset Conference. Is it time to buy the news? Liberation Day is upon us, and we're starting to see that the bottom may be in. We'll cover that. Newsmax to the moon, and it's not just because John and I appear on that network all the time. We'll talk about what's keeping investors very happy in that stock. And has consumer sentiment finally turned? You look at the earnings in Tommy Hilfiger holding company, PVH, you might think that consumers are feeling a little bit better at the economy, given how much discretionary spending they're doing in the brands that that company owns. All that and more coming up in today's Rebels Edge.
Welcome back. That's the one and only Mark Lopresti, folks, giving us the cold open and doing a great job as usual, and highlighting Newsmax, which we do. All three of us appear on pretty regularly. Maybe that's why the stock is up, I don't know, Mark, like 1,200% since it came public yesterday at $10 a share. My God,
just incredible. And John, I was at Newsmax HQ on Friday, where I appeared on the American Agenda with our friend Bob Brooks, and I have to tell you, the mood in the office ahead of that last day ahead of the IPO. The IPO yesterday, of course, stock was supposed to open around, I don't remember exactly what it was, $12, I think. Closed at 74 yesterday, and today hitting 140 plus. Huge congratulations to our friend Chris Ruddy and everybody over there at the network. It's a pleasure for us to contribute, and big congratulations to all the shareholders and the folks that got in before the IPO.
Indeed, Mark. And we're going to cover the rest of that story with the stocks, folks. But first, a little macro minute. The NASDAQ index just had the worst quarterly performance in the first quarter of 2025 in nearly 3 years. Both the NASDAQ and the S&P having the worst performance since 2022. And a lot of you were rattled. Hopefully, a lot of you that watch this program regularly got some insights and were able to ride some of the ups and downs, because you can trade both sides of the markets, folks. So that's my macro minute, Mark.
Yeah, listen, just adding on to that, we just had a call before we went live with the Rebel Squeeze Play specialist, the charming and brilliant Jeff Garbaz, who basically is telling us, based on short interest, based on everything he's looking at, this spring is coiled. And these indications in terms of the performance of the NAS in the first quarter of this year, I think, is even further validation, John. My guess, and I covered this on my show this morning on SiriusXM with Janet Alvarez, I think tomorrow is going to be a buy the news type of a thing. The market, as our friend Tom Lee is suggesting, once we get this tough tariff talk on the table, the market likes certainty, not uncertainty. Once we understand exactly what his vision is for this global trade policy, it could provide that relief that starts to get the bulls back in charge. And I think what they're going to snap up the most is the stuff that was sold off the most, right? So all of our tech darlings, the Mag 7, the Magnas, all of these additional acronyms that we have now. So it's going to be pretty interesting tomorrow, folks. I think we're going to see a big day.
I think so too. And for a little fantastic futures, Mark, I'm going to say the 10-year is down again. That's the yield on the 10-year, breaking down to, I think, 4.14, the lows of the year. And gold is at another record. And why? Because it's a day that ends in Y, Mark.
Yeah. Listen, gold's continued trajectory has just been nothing short of remarkable. And I think as it relates to the 10-year and the direction of the 10-year, in conjunction with what we just covered in the macro minute, I think that's a good thing, right? I mean, you want to see the 10-year performing that way if we are expecting to get a nice bull run and maybe even turn the corner with this correction that we've had over the past 7 or 8 weeks.
All right. Well, Mark, let's dive into that Newsmax story, because what a story it is. Shares were up 700+% yesterday. That's right, yesterday. How much are they up today? Well, for a stock that came public, market,
14.
I think it came public the first trade, yeah, $14. The IPO price was 10, so that's a nice little, nearly 40% pop just right there. But then there's more. It just kept going, and today, Mark, it is up over $64. It's trading 148 right
Oh
now.
my gosh.
That makes our friend Chris Ruddy a billionaire about, I think, 5 or 6 times over. And what a fabulous company he's built, from a blog to a vlog to now a true network with a market cap of almost $13.5 billion, Mark.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. It's an amazing success story. Obviously, riding a bit on the coattails of President Trump and the MAGA movement, no doubt. Chris famously tweeted a few days ago before the IPO a picture from the Oval Office of Trump holding his phone, and it says Chris Ruddy on the caller ID to President Trump, calling to I guess congratulate and wish them luck in an anticipatory fashion. I think the president knew that this was going to be successful. But listen, it is a first class organization. We really do enjoy. I love being there in studio, as the producers there and Chris himself know. We love going on there. And John, we did, for those that are loyal Rebels Edge watchers, we interviewed Chris on this very show in the fall, I believe it was, talking about their
Yep.
plans to go public, talking about the story. And this is really also, John, an indication, two things, and then we'll get on to the next one. One, I think this is a good sign with the CoreWeave IPO that kind of went not so great. People said, well, maybe it's not time for IPOs to return. This is a clear indication, particularly with their controversial dual class structure, right? That I think some analysts did not like. This is a pretty good indication that there is an appetite for risk. And I think this is going to be seen as a good omen for other companies looking to go IPO.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly a fantastic day for Chris Ruddy and the Newsmax Nation. So congratulations. Bang. We salute you. Let's talk about what Mark was discussing about Tommy Hilfiger. It's one of the many brands that is within PVH. And the company reported better than expected Q4 results, gave upbeat guidance. What do you suppose that resulted in? If you said the stock's going to be up, you are right. Give yourself a gold star. Mark, what do you think of this one?
If the stock's not just up, it's up almost 18% right now. And what's so
Yeah.
remarkable about this, and I talked about this a little bit, teased it in the cold open, the last couple of consumer sentiment prints that we got have been pretty horrendous. In fact, it was that Michigan one we got on the Friday about 7 or so weeks ago that a lot of folks consider one of the catalysts for the start of the path towards the correction that we experienced, right? So to have a company like this that owns Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein, another one of their famous brands, to see this kind of strength, and of course, it's not just about what you did last quarter. As we now know, the earnings story is almost universally about what you're expecting for the next quarter. And this is pretty upbeat guidance. I mean, you would not expect that we would be in this inflationary environment that we've been all this time, and all this concern about tariffs and all this other stuff, but yet people can't buy enough Calvin Klein and Tommy Hilfiger. That's like pretty discretionary as far as I'm concerned. So, I think smart investors, policymakers, traders, maybe even JPOW, looking at this kind of stuff and say, maybe the outlook for the American economy is not as dreary as we've thought for the past few weeks. It's a good sign.
Yeah, well, Mark, I'm going to be going on with Oliver Rennick on the Schwab Network at 3:20 today. And one of the things I'm going to cover is exactly that. I think many of the traditional news media, and again, back to Newsmax, they are not TradFi. That company is basically breaking new ground and doing it in a conservative way. Many of the others have decided that they're going to put up the worst news possible all the time.
Yeah.
And Tesla's one example. You could look on most of the headlines on CNBC.com or Yahoo, any of these, and you know what you'll see, folks? Oh my gosh, the Tesla sales in Norway are down 48%. And then when you see what the actual number is, it's 900 cars. 900 cars. I mean, there are dealerships in the country, Mark, that probably do 900 cars in a month. Forget about a whole country. So, yeah, it's all about how you paint the picture and whether or not you want people to be fearful, whether or not you want them to believe that these aren't astroturfed rallies outside Tesla and all the rest. But I get off my soapbox and instead throw it back to you, Mark, on something that you know an awful lot about. There's a big class action, of course, that was brought against Johnson & Johnson. It was for their talc-related issues. And people said they were getting cancers from this. They provided enough proof that the trial found that they set aside Mark, $10 billion to as a judgment against Johnson & Johnson. And then Johnson & Johnson said, well, maybe we'll have to go through a bankruptcy. And the bankruptcy judge said, not so fast, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, this is it's a tragic story. I mean, it was unfortunately pretty extensive, linking some of what was in Johnson & Johnson's very popular baby powders and talc-related products to ovarian cancer. A lot of folks suffered tremendously. And this is not just one lawsuit, John. This is, as it's referred to, the MDL multi-district litigation, a class action, if you will, as most folks will be more familiar with that phrase. And yeah, this was the third attempt, not the first, not the second, but the third attempt to get a settlement. And just to contextualize for you, $10 billion is a massive settlement. It would be second in line only to the settlement reached with 3M and DuPont in the PFAS litigation, something that we know a little bit about, having consulted to the lead counsels on that case, which of course is $13.5 billion. These things tend to, yeah, big numbers, but big torts, big injury, as we like to say. So, and it's interesting when companies like this announce that these settlements are actually finalized and approved by the court, almost invariably 90+% of the time the stocks go up. 3M and DuPont, great example. When that $13 billion settlement was reached in the PFAS case, the stocks performed well. Why? Markets love certainty and knowing that something is quantifiable and behind a particular company tends to be good news. Not the case for J&J. They're going to go back into one of those probably unpleasant rooms with 24 attorneys trying to hammer out settlement number 4. We'll see. But in the meantime, shares moving to the downside.
Well, let's talk about XPEV, Mark, because it used to be that Alibaba was, the darling that we'd always talk about when we covered Chinese stocks. That was one of them, BABA, of course, the symbol there, but XPEV, an EV maker of vehicles over in the People's Republic of China. This one is in the news now about as much as any, and it's a 2% rally today, but they made a number of announcements in terms of how many of these EVs they're producing. And again, remember what I said about Norway, folks. Well, this one in a month, the 5th consecutive month, this company has produced 30,000 units. So you compare the 900 to 30,000, it's apples to oranges. I mean, these guys make a heck of a lot of those automobiles. And the fact that they're smart EVs, the fact that they've got AI capability, Mark, that's why this one stays in the news.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And this is also the kind of thing that's got Tesla shareholders worried, right? I mean, these guys are making a lot of cars and they're distributing them in a market that is substantially larger and more mature from an energy infrastructure perspective than here in the United States. The other thing helping move shares to the upside on this EV maker is that they are expanding or have expanded into Indonesia, substantially expanding their already global footprint. This one, John, and we are Elon believers. We've been holders of Tesla and long Tesla and Tesla bulls, notwithstanding even some of the rockiness that we've experienced lately. But putting aside all of the Doge and other, was Elon distracted stuff, this is the kind of thing that does give me a little bit of cause for concern about Tesla's maintaining its global dominance in the EV space, and whether or not it even is currently the global leader.
Well, there's certainly a lot of vehicles that are beautiful vehicles. Mark and I have discussed them amongst ourselves. Those BYD, they brought in engineers from, Range Rover, Bentley, and McLaren, I believe, Mark. And the cars reflect those design skills much more than just a box. Some of these are, of course, just boxes that are EVs, but the ones by BYD in particular, and perhaps some of these now from XPEV, are pretty damn sharp automobiles. They look good, and they have longer range, allegedly, than the Teslas do. But we shall see. All right. Well, Pete's not with us today, folks, so we are not doing sports today. But we do have a great offer. Mark, you want to hit the folks with the opportunity for them to get that video that we shot in Vegas?
Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that follow us well, and I know many of you do, you know that we've been on the road a lot. We're actually right now at the Uncorrelated Assets Conference here in San Juan, Puerto Rico, where John was a keynote yesterday. I'll be a keynote today at that fantastic event. We're actually going to be speaking at the next one they have coming up in Beverly Hills, California, in end of May, John, if I remember correctly. Beginning of May.
I think the 4th, 5th, 6th, maybe something like that, I think.
Well, no rest for the wicked. And of course, we just came back from RebelCon 2025 in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada, where we hosted many great proud members of the Rebel Nation for a day of action-packed education, trade signals, ideas, keynotes from some luminaries like Liz Clayman. Grant Cardone was there, of course. So we actually have the ability, we have an offer right now that if you were not able to join us live in Vegas, you can pick up the replay, edited, fantastic cinematography. They're still working on the score. And I'm kidding, there's no score, of course. But you can see and catch all the action from the comfort of your couch. It's only $395, and that comes with a $200 coupon that you could apply towards any Market Rebellion service. So if you were not able to join us in person in Vegas, we encourage you to pick that up. That is a fantastic offer. There'll be a QR code there, and you can scan that or call your favorite Market Rebellion salesperson and get on that. That offer, I think, is going to be open only for about another 6 days, John. So that will not be around forever. And tomorrow you'll be back on with Pete, or wait a minute, maybe not. You and I are going to be on a plane tomorrow during Rebel's Edge.
It might be Pete and Justin Nugent tomorrow.
I think so.
Well, folks, we appreciate all of you tuning in. Please keep the not so much cards and letters, but the digital versions of those coming to Mark Lepresti on his Twitter, or me on mine, or Pete. We love the input, and it certainly helps us craft the show to be something that you guys want. So thank you very much for joining us. Again, there will be another Rebel's Edge tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time.